Chapter 4.5, Equivalent Fractions. Your vocabulary for today are equivalent fractions and simplest form. Please take a moment to find those on pages 176 and 177 in your book and write those down. When you're finished, come back and we will go over example 1. Example 1 asks you to write two equivalent fractions for 6/8. So to find equivalent fractions, I have two options. The first option is that I can take any fraction and I can make an equivalent fraction by multiplying by the same number so that my denominator and my numerator are both larger. So I'm just going to go ahead and multiply by 2 halves. 6 times 2 is 12. 8 times 2 is 16. So 12/16 is an equivalent fraction of 6/8. They represent the same amount. The other option is to reduce or simplify by dividing by a common factor. Now, not every fraction can be reduced. For example, 5/7 cannot be reduced. They have no common factors, so I cannot divide 5 and 7 by the same number. But every fraction can be increased by multiplying by the same number. So 15/21 is equivalent to 5/7. I can always increase, I can't always reduce. But when I can, I reduce by a common factor, in this case 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. And 8 divided by 2 is 4. So 3/4 is an equivalent fraction. For your quick checks today, you're going to be asked to write two equivalent fractions for a given number. There are multiple options. Sometimes you can reduce, sometimes you will need to increase, but you do have multiple options. There is not necessarily one right answer. All right, so that is finding equivalent fractions. So this would be your answer. So example 2 is reducing fractions to its simplest form, which you all know how to do, but this time we're going to do that by finding the greatest common factor. And the reason that we want to find the greatest common factor is because it will allow us to reduce in one step. So let me demonstrate really fast. If I have 20/28, they're both even, so I know that 2 is a common factor. So I can reduce that by dividing by 2 and getting 10/14. But I see that 10/14 are both even, so I can reduce again, dividing by 2 and getting 5/7. Now this takes 2 steps. I have to divide once, and then I have to divide again before I finally get to my simplified answer. Finding the greatest common factor, however, allows you to reduce in one step. So, you have learned 3 ways to find a greatest common factor. You can make a list, you can use a division ladder, or you can use a factor tree. I don't care which method you use, pick the one that works best for you. I'm going to make a list of my factors. So 20 is 1 times 20, 2 times 10, and 4 times 5. Now normally I would make the list in that U shape, but I'm running out of space, so I'm going to write it horizontally, but still using that same method. 1 times 20, 2 times 10, 4 is not a factor, or 3 is not a factor, and then 4 times 5. 28 equals 1 times 28, 2 times 14, 3 is not a factor, but 4 is. 4 times 7. So I see that 4 is my greatest common factor. So if I divide 20/28 by 4 over 4. 20 divided by 4 is 5, and 28 divided by 4 is 7. So there in one step I've come up with the same answer as I have here. I just did it in one step instead of two. So it makes the process a little bit easier. Example 3. Use prime factorization. A pet store stocks 36 types of cat food, 42 types of dog food, 18 types of bird food, and 24 types of food for other pets. What fraction of the food is cat food? So I'm working with cat food here in blue. That's going to be my numerator. But the first thing I need to find is my total. What is the total amount of types of food I have? So 36 plus 42 plus 18 plus 24. 6 plus 4 is 10. 2 plus 8 is 20. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I have 120 total types of food. So I need to reduce this into a simplified fraction. I'm going to do that using prime factorization. So I'm going to use a factor tree because that's the method I like. 36 is 3 times 12. 3 is prime. 2 times 6. 2 times 3. So 36 equals 2 times 2 times 3 times 3. 120, 10 times 12, 2 times 5, 2 times 6, and 3 times 2. So 120 is 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 5. Now, this is division. 36 over 120 is the same as 2 times 2 times 3 times 3 divided by 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 5. Now, I can divide by common factors. 2 divided by 2 is like 1 over 1. 2 divided by 2 is 1 over 1. And 3 divided by 3 is 1 over 1. So I am left with a 3 in the numerator and 2 times 5 in the denominator, which is 3/10. So 3/10 of the food is cat food. Now, this may not be your favorite method. It may feel a little bit awkward to you, but I still want you to try it. Okay? All right, that is it for the examples, and we will go over this the next time I see you.